In this session, I will teach you one of the important concept. Okay, most of the time whenever we are writing the SQL statement and performing arithmetic expressions or using aggregate functions, we make mistakes. Why? Who is the culprit? Can you guess? Yes, null is the culprit. Okay, whenever you have null values in your data, your result is not as expected. Why? Because any arithmetic expression which involves a null value returns a null value as the output. Okay, whether you add null to a value or multiply null to a value or divide null to a value or subtract null to a value, the output is null. Okay, you have to remember this point very carefully. Okay, whether you are writing your Oracle certification exam or you are working in an office, be careful with null. Be careful with null. Okay, if you think there are null values in your table, don't do this. Don't calculate your average like this or don't do your count like this. It will return a wrong value. Okay, always use the NVL function whenever you think there are null values in your table. Okay, so whenever you are calculating your average or your count or your sum or any other aggregate functions, you use NVL. Okay, NVL and the column comma 0. Okay, now let's go and take a look at the demo. Okay, so let's start with something simple. Okay, select 10 plus null from dual. What is the output? Null, right? So let me change this to division. It's null. Multiplication, null. Let's do minus. It's null, right? Remember this. Okay, now let's go to the actual data. Select star from sales. Okay, here you see there is null in the tax amount column. Okay, so now let me perform a average on this. Okay, average of tax amount from sales. Okay, so I run it and the output is 43.33. So let's take that and copy it here. Okay, so now let's see if the value of 43.33 is right or wrong. So I copy this value, Control C, and then I open the Excel sheet. So in the Excel sheet, I paste the values. You see the null is not pasted. So I just will type null. Okay, and then let me sum this. Okay, 260. Okay, and totally how many values? 7 values, right? Totally. So it is equal to 260 by 7. That is the average. 37.14 is your average. But why the output is 43.33? Because it ignored the null value. What did it do? It just performed 260 by 6. That is why 43.33 came. Okay. So to include the null value, so use the NVL function. So I use that and comma 0. So now let me calculate the average. You see 37.14. Interesting, right? Yes, you have to be really careful whenever you have null values in your table. Okay, let's perform one more operation. Select count of tax amount from sales. What's the output? 6. But we have 7 rows. The output should have been 7. Why is it 6? And again the answer is it ignores the null value. So that is why it returned 6. So what's the solution? Using the NVL. So NVL of column name and 0 and run this. Now you see the output is 7. Okay. So whenever you're working on the data and your table has null values, be very careful and use NVL wherever possible. Okay.